Hey, everybody.
I got it right here. Let me go to the King James version though.
Let me see. You may want to go to the New King James Version. Hey, everybody. Be patient with us. Hasn't it,
Hmm?
hasn't it changing?
Baby, now you know the answer to that question.
Hey, hey. Anybody coming on?
Hey there, how's it going?
Hey. Hey, be patient with us. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Oh, where's. Hold on.
Yeah, we're looking for something.
There it is.
Okay, you got it? Oh, good. I'll put this down.
Um, you, you can do down to.
Hmm?
Okay, hold on. Oh, yeah, that's the. Hey, Z. Hey, hey,
Hey, how's it
friend.
going?
I
Just
hope
like
I
to
got
welcome
enough.
everybody. We are Terrence and Jill,
Yes.
A God-Ordained Union,
Yes.
and we're here with the vision to help create more God-ordained marriages, more kingdom marriages.
Yes. We putting our little part in it. The word says some water, some, what is it? Some plant, some water, but God gives it increase. So we're here to do our little planting. Our mission is simple. Our mission is just to help you get to your person. It is to help you see some things in you, good or bad, that could be blocking or
Mhm.
delaying or preventing or not
Yeah.
the person God has for you. So that's our vision. If you are new on our channel, we are no longer newlyweds. We were married 2 years, 2 years and 3 months ago, and our story is simple. We waited for love. That's why tonight's topic is so wow. I'm gonna try not to cry, but we waited for love, and we waited, until God brought our God ordained mate. And a God ordained mate is simply the one you actually uh, allow God to do in His perfect will. He gives us choice, and God often He will allow our permissive will. If we want something, He will give it to us, but it does not necessarily mean that it's His choice for us. But we truly believe that um, we had God's perfect will in waiting, and waiting for a mate. And so here we are. So we ain't got no announcements. We've been doing a study
Yes.
over the last couple of weeks. We're breaking down the fruit of the spirit,
We've been doing
a
series.
series on the fruit of the spirit, because our framework includes fruitfulness. And so we wanted to do a breakdown of the fruit of the
Mhm.
spirit. It's 9 fruits of the spirit. Is it 9? Love, love, joy, peace, patience, faith, hope, goodness, kindness. 9 fruits of the spirit. I know I should know that, but it's 9 fruits of the spirit. And over the last 3 weeks, we've covered love, joy, and peace.
Mm-hmm.
And tonight
Tonight,
we're doing patience.
yes.
And I'm going to try not to
She
cry,
gonna cry. So let's
because
just.
I was tearing up when we were studying this, because it's very yeah, it hit some points. And in our studying we discovered a whole bunch of stuff, and we want to take our time. So be patient with us tonight, because we got a lot of notes, and we want to make sure we say the notes the right way, so that we don't water down patience.
Yeah, because this is on a whole nother
It's
level.
on a whole nother
Yeah.
level. um and so, oh my goodness. All right, Z. I needed to, believe it or not. It's on a whole nother level. And we want to pull back the layers
Yeah.
of patience, and not just the basic understanding
Yeah.
of
We're not
patience.
just gonna run through this.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's gonna be, hey, for such a time as this, you made it. We're doing good. We're doing good.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, we don't know how long it's gonna take. It might take 20 minutes. It might, I don't know. But
And
yeah.
y'all inspired this. We
Yes.
do a lot, or we study a lot because of what we want to do for you all, and how we want to relate to you all. But this right here, because we're talking about waiting for your soulmate, waiting to
For
get
your God
married,
ordained
your
mate.
God ordained mate. What we had a question that just stood out in front of everything. And so when we asked that question, it just led us down this path that we took of studying. So, and that question that it was laid out was, why did God describe love as patient first?
Yeah.
And when we go to 1 Corinthians 13, it says love is what, baby?
I was
What?
gonna say, bring it over in the frame. Be patient with me. I was gonna say, bring it over in the frame so they could hear you. Because when you go like this, you out the frame.
Would you leave me alone?
Be patient.
Jeez. It says here, starting at verse 4, love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil or rejoices with the truth. It always protects,
Always
always
trust.
trusts,
Always
always
hopes.
hopes,
Always
always
perseveres.
perseveres.
Love never fails.
So it starts off with love is patient. And like we said, that just took us
So, yeah, it was like, why did God say,
out of all the things he could have said to start off describing what love is.
and what patience is? He
Patience
said
was number one.
patience was the number one thing. And then as we were studying, the revelation came, is that in order to even be able to be in love, or to express love, or to have love, patience is actually the breaking point of self.
Yes.
It is the breaking point of self, and it is that place where you die to self.
Mm-hmm.
And this was crucial, because what has happened is that so many people are going around it. They're not being patient, as we know what patience is. They're not being patient. And so what has happened is that they're missing love. They're actually missing, they're settling for an imitation version of love, because they're not going through the path and the process of patience. Love is patience. That is the breaking point for you to get to the person God has for you. It is the breaking point. You know how people say, I know if y'all ever heard this, they say the class taking physics will separate the wannabe doctors from the ones who will be doctors. If you can pass physics, the class physics, then they know you're serious about really wanting to be a doctor. And that's what patience is that if you want love,
You got
you
to go
got to
through
go through
patience.
patience.
You got to go
And
through
there's no
patience.
way around it. And now I understand why God did what he did, even when he took me all the way to almost 50 to meet the person. And then when I came in contact with the person, I still had to go through another series of patience. And it was a constant breaking of self, a constant breaking down of self.
Yeah,
So
patience is like she said, you die to self, and your rebirth is love.
it's
Oh my
to even
goodness.
to get to attach to someone else's love, you gotta go through patience, which is the breaking point.
Hmm.
And so there are three there are three main topics or characteristics of
Of
patience in
patience.
love,
Yes.
and we're going to break those three down, but each one of those three got sub points to it. And I'm
Hmm.
gonna try not to cry, because it's a little emotional, it gets deep now. Now it's becoming clear hindsight, but even now going through things that we really want and how we got to be patient, like y'all know we want our house, and just the breaking down of self, even in this process of getting our dream house, is that, um
Yes.
so okay, the first point, baby, what we doing, how we doing this?
Well,
So the first point we need to know about patience and love.
the first point is patience in love means that you're willing to wait.
And so we know that one, we really know that one. That's I think that's about the level of patience we know is the waiting part. And so in the waiting part is some points.
And in the waiting part, the one that I love is delayed gratification.
Mm,
I love that. It's so many people, especially now with the microwave era, where everybody wants their gratification right now. They want the prize right now. And when it comes to being willing to wait, it means that basically you're willing to say, I'm not looking for a fast response or I'm not looking for the gratification today. I'm willing to sacrifice
mhm.
today, knowing that if I wait and be patient, it's going to allow me to have a bigger, better result tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. Um, there's a scripture in the Bible. I can't even quote what it is, but I can say what the scripture is. It says, "Though the vision tarry, wait." And then and being willing to wait and to forego immediate set gratification for something better, that is a part of the breaking process. That is the part of breaking self. And it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy. It's very difficult to not settle for someone, and say, you know what, he got nine things, nine core values, but he doesn't have that 10th one. And you know what, I want God's perfect will, not God's perfect person, but I want God's perfect will, and I'm willing to wait. And that's not always easy, but that is a part of the breakdown, the breaking of self.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the other part is trust and faith. And that is not only just saying, okay, at my age, I remember I'm like, okay, somebody, because not a lot of men came along. The older we get, they don't come along in droves like they used to. And so when somebody did come, which is few and far in between, it's even saying, you know what, you're a nice guy, but hey, Joy, it's like saying you're a nice guy, but I'm still willing to wait. I trust God. I trust, and that is also a part of the breaking process.
Hmm.
Is a breakdown. You were saying something about when you were single before you met me and how.
Yeah, just with me being willing to wait for me was there are times, and I'm pretty sure you are all starting to, if you haven't already started, you know, there are going to be days when you're going to be lonely. There's going to be days when you're going to be horny. There's going to be days when you're going to just feel like, you
Let's
know
keep it
what?
PG.
Look, let's be real. These are grown folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But there's going to be days when you're going to have these urges. Okay. And one of the things that I went through as a man, we are touchy feely type people. Like I was telling her, we could be walking down the street and the woman brush up against us. It's liable to do something to a guy depending on where he is mentally, physically, spiritually, and everything else. So there are times when you're by yourself, you're looking for that person, you're waiting for that person, and then you're sitting there thinking, man, I should be out there. I should be at least with somebody for the moment because you're feeling this thing. And you have to have that patience to say, no, I'm not going. I'm
That's
not
a
going
break.
out there because what I know I will run into and the way I'm feeling right now is not going to be what God has for me. So if I go out there, I'm putting everything that I've sacrificed up to now in jeopardy. I'm staying right here. I said, if somebody would have met me that night, they would have had to come knock on the door and say, God sent me to your house. Because I wasn't
Wow.
leaving the house. I locked the doors and I was like, no, I'm staying in for the whole weekend.
Yeah, that's it. Habakkuk chapter 2, though the vision tarry, wait. Yeah, and that is a breaking down of self. It's that's a part of being patient and love is waiting and trusting God that you know what, I'ma just I believe that God has my
Mm-hmm.
person,
Mm-hmm.
and that takes some breaking down of self.
Yeah.
It takes some very, very breaking down of self. And at the same time, with all of this, we have so many messages being pushed at us
Yeah.
that's contrary to this. And so the
Mm-hmm.
enemy is on his job to push us from waiting. Girl, what
Yeah.
you waiting for? What you
Mm-hmm.
waiting for? You getting so old. I don't. I mean, you waiting for Mr. Perfect. You waiting,
Well,
and
he don't exist, you know.
Mr. Perfect don't exist. Girl, that man, he's a good man. He got a good job. And it's like you know in your spirit, the closer you get to the Holy Spirit, you know that
Yeah.
something's not right. But that is a part of the breakdown process to say, you know what? I am willing to wait. So
Mm-hmm.
waiting is number one of
Yes.
being patience and love. The second point of patience and love is what, baby?
You are willing to understand.
Oh my God.
You are willing to understand.
And this is where it really hurts. This is where you go to another level of breakdown.
Yes.
Say, okay, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go ahead and wait. I'm gonna wait for the one. But guess what? What happens when the one you think is the one, comes and everything in you says that's the one that you think is the one, and then it's not. And so there's some points in under understanding that
Yeah.
y'all gotta know. And this is where it got emotional for me.
Yeah. One is being empathy, having empathy,
Empathetic,
and being
being
empathetic. That's just understanding, trying to put yourself in their shoes to understand what they're going through, understanding who they are, understanding
hmm
what they're feeling.
yeah. So I was telling my husband that before he came, and actually it's about 10 years before he came, I was in a relationship with someone. I was really getting to know. I can't even really say we was in a well, my relationship, I know my story. It has never been, it's always been talking stage, and then either he's my husband or talking stage and they disappear. So, but this guy, we were talking for a couple of years. And so we were talking about marriage. And so, and so I don't know what happened. One day we missed a phone call. And the next thing I knew, he had married somebody else. And it took me a while to like, I tried to figure, like, how did that happen? How did it slip? What did I miss? And so when we finally, so he avoided me for about a year, 6 months to a year. But one day he called me, and we had a conversation, and he said, um, basically, he his new wife he loved, and that was his person. And it took me a while to understand and to be empathetic for him and to have empathy for him, to say, you're right, that was your person. And I really didn't understand it. And this is all under understanding.
Mhm.
I didn't really understand it until I got my person. And now I said, that is what he was feeling. Now I understand what he was feeling when I wasn't the person. And you've got to have enough understanding to know it really does not have anything to do with you. It's really, and that's being, I had to be empathetic. He found his person. And unfortunately, it wasn't me. Well, fortunately, it wasn't me. Fortunately, it was not me. But at the time, you got to be empathetic. Well, I'm glad you found your person. And that's breaking down of self. That's a big breakdown. Oh, I'm about to cry. Is it really a breakdown of self to see somebody else get the person you thought was going to be yours? Like, that is a breakdown of self.
Mhm.
The other part of understanding is being an active listener.
Yeah, and that really just involves allowing a person to get their whole thought out. When people are speaking, so many times we already know what we're going to say before they even finish speaking,
Mm-hmm.
which means we're not actively listening and trying to understand what it is they're saying.
Yeah.
So, which is why now when people get in arguments, a lot of times, it's because no one is actually listening to the other. Everybody just wanting to get their point out.
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to be in order to get a better understanding, the full understanding, we have to be actively listening to what the other person is saying. And even to the point to where, and I was sharing this earlier with Jill, is even once that person stops speaking, don't be in such a rush to respond as much as you need to actually maybe think about what they just said for a moment to ensure that you actually got a full understanding of what they was
Mm-hmm.
trying to say or what they was trying to convey to you.
Yeah. And understanding and active listening
Mm-hmm.
also means that listen to the person. If you're getting to know somebody, really, really listen. Be actively listening to the person. If that person says, I don't want no kids, I don't want no more kids, I don't want any kids, and listen to that person, and oh, it's raining hard, and you want children, listen to what he's saying. Listen to what he's saying, and heed to what he's saying.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, patience, that's what a part of breaking down of self is. Patience is
Mm-hmm.
understanding and actively listening. That is a part of patience. That's breaking down of self. The other part is acceptance.
Yes.
Accepting that it is what it is, and that it might not be, you might not be married by 50. You might not be married by 60, but are you willing to be patient? Do you understand that it might not come when you want it?
And this is where you got to understand sometimes trying to control the narrative isn't
Mm.
the right thing to do or isn't
It's
the best thing
never,
to do.
it's
It's
never.
it's being able to adjust and to understand that what God has for you is for you, and it's going to happen in God's timing, and it's going to happen in the way that God is trying to direct it for you, so everything works out to your good.
Hmm.
So that what happens tomorrow may not be the way you thought it was going to be.
Hmm. Another part of understanding is understanding of forgiveness. Like that person that you're still holding on to, a part of the breakdown of being patient, being going through the process of
Mm-hmm.
patience, the part of the breaking, the dying of self is to forgive. Forgive yourself and forgive anybody else that you're
Yeah.
still holding on to.
Yes.
Mhm. Another part is adaptability. It's just being able to adapt. I was saying to my husband, suppose someone, lives in Maryland and the other lives in North Carolina, and being able to adapt to that person's culture and to that
Mhm.
person's the way they, you
Yeah.
know, understand things. All of that is understanding. That's a breakdown. That patience is all of that.
Yeah, because you got to remember God's word says that the husband and wife become one. The 1 plus 1, they're going to become one. So now it's just not about me. It's about us, but we're one. So I have to understand that. And sometimes me loving her is knowing that I have to put what I'm feeling aside sometimes and do what's best for her,
Is breaking.
and trying to get a better understanding of her and saying, yes, she's important enough for me to make sure that I'm looking at what her needs are.
And I'm adapting to what and I'm having empathy, and yeah, and that is a part of and this is the thing. That's why I always say when you're in your single season, one of the best things you can do is serve.
Mm-hmm.
Go out there and serve, volunteer, do some stuff for those in need, because all of these things is
Yes.
developing patience in you. All of these things are breaking you down. All of these things are breaking you from self. We're conditioned. We so many messages, and I feel bad for saying it, but it's even so many spiritual preachers and evangelists. They're saying things that are contrary to this, and so while God is trying to break us, they're quote unquote empowering us, for lack of a better term. They're building up a wall, and so God is saying, I'm trying to break you down because this is the route it needs to go before, so that I can get you to love you. I love you this much that I want you to love begets love. And so it's the it's this is the path that has to happen. This patience is the path that has to happen.
Yes. And
The
patience is God's nature.
Yeah, that's
It's
his
God's
care.
nature.
That's his
So we
supernatural
need to
nature.
learn to have patience with each other the way God has
A
for us.
breaking of self.
Yes.
Breaking of self. The other part of it is compassion, and that's what we were saying, just having compassion for people and for one another. But one understanding, one of our favorite points about understanding, this is patience and love and understanding, is mindfulness.
Mhm.
And that's just basically just being in the moment and being
Yes.
present in in your season that you're in. We're saying that, like, for us, like, now mindfulness is, we're in this apartment. We want our house, and we can never equate a house to y'all getting a mate. So let me
Right.
just say that, like, there's no comparison. But at the same time, patience is doing this good and perfect work in us. It is breaking us down. It's especially breaking me down. Like, it's, though the vision tarry, wait, it's, it is the same process. It is still a breakdown of self. But mindfulness is just being in the moment and
Yeah.
being in the present and enjoying the
Not tripping about
season,
tomorrow,
not
not focused
tripping.
on
Right.
yesterday,
I
but
want my,
being in
you're
the
right,
very moment right now.
right. Taking this season for what it is and then embracing it. So yeah, so two characteristics of patience and love. One is waiting, two is understanding. And what's the
Yes.
third final
The third
characteristics?
one is being willing to tolerate imperfections in others.
And
Mm.
this is where, this is why the divorce rate is so hard.
Yeah.
I mean, so high. It's because we're intolerable. The reason why the divorce rate, we're not going to tolerate no one's imperfections.
And it's really like an oxymoron too, because you always hear people saying, "Well, I'm human. Well, I'm human." It's like they give it when it's conveniently an excuse for them, but they don't think about us being human when it's time to show patience for someone else.
Mhm. Yeah, it is. It's and it's recognizing that we all are. We accept it. We have to accept each other for our own.
Mm-hmm.
That we're human, and that you know. Let's talk about the most topic, the biggest topic that that I used to, as a single person, and that a lot of women, single women, talk about as far as not tolerating something. And that is when they say, he's not consistent. He's not consistent. He's not consistent. And that's a part of, I'm telling you, sometimes I think God be saying, you know what, I'm going to make him not call tonight so that I can continue to break her patience, break her through and give her patience. I'm gonna let him not call tonight, and I'm gonna let him call Thursday, and then I'm gonna not let him call until the next Tuesday because I'm gonna break her down. I'm going to build patience in her, and we fail. We throw him away. We say he ain't consistent enough for me. We toss him out. And that will be probably the last level of the testing of your patience, to see if you are not patient enough for his humanness, or for his just having
Right.
unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, and that's one of the sub characteristics of it, is actually having those realistic expectations, and telling yourself he is human,
Yeah, he
and
is
he is
human.
not perfect. So I need to be willing to understand
Yeah,
that there's some things that's going to happen that may not be the way I'm going to do it, that may
right.
not happen in the time frame that I want it to happen, or there may be something that happens that he made a mistake with.
Yeah.
But
I
he's human.
yeah, I remember when we were in our talking stages, and we had not physically met yet, but we were in our talking stages. And I remember you I didn't hear from you. We had had a conversation one day, and I didn't hear from you. You were supposed to you we had planned a date for you to come visit. And when that date came, oh yeah, it's coming back to me now. Cause I remember, I never forget, I baked the lemon cake. I baked the lemon cake, and I had planned for that whole Saturday to, be free, because that week it was going to be the date that you was going to come. And so, and I'm going to tell you when it was. It was in April. Let me tell you, this is a trip. So it was like the first beginning of April. You didn't show up for that. And then I hadn't heard from you. I didn't hear from you. And I was like, oh, he's done. In my mind, I was like, he's done. He's done. And so I was like, how did he not even call to even say he wasn't coming? And I think you probably don't remember this. And I think you knew that I was pissed, because of course y'all know I wasn't calling, because that's what I did not do. And so you didn't call and say you weren't coming. You didn't call to say you were delayed. I don't know. You could have, I don't know what it could have been. But as far as this one was concerned, I wasn't checking up on you. I was like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I ate that lemon cake myself. By the end of that weekend, all that lemon cake was gone. I ate it all. And so about a week or so later, it may have been 2 weeks, you sent me the song. He texted me the song "Hello" by Adele, and you were checking my temperature, and that brought a smile on my face. And I said, you know what? It is what it is. I'm gonna take this as it is. And I was like, hey, how are you? I never mentioned that he stood me up. None of that. I never said, where were you? None of that. I decided I was gonna change the tone. And so I was like, hey, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Da da da. I hope you're doing good. Then I didn't hear from him again for a couple of days. So at that point, I was like, okay, he definitely dating somebody else. That next Saturday night, I'm gonna tell you how this is so strategic. That next one Saturday night, I was chilling. I think I was listening to, I don't know who, I was just chilling at home by myself. It was a Saturday night. You cracking up? You would have did the same thing? Exactly. I was chilling one Saturday night. I was having my own little, because I love my alone time. It was a beautiful Saturday night, and about 9 o'clock that night, I got a text, and the text was Brian McKnight's song. Um, what's the song?
Which one?
Nobody. Brian McKnight's song, Nobody. And I had never heard the song. And I looked at my text, and it was him. And I'm the type of person, because I'm all up in understanding. Because when you say God having this perfect patience work in me, let me tell you something. I got understanding down to a T. I'm actively listening. I'm being empathetic. I'm accepting things as they are. I'm being mindful. I'm being in the moment. And so I looked at the text, and I had never heard the song before. And so I listened to the song, and I'm like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. He sent me this song. That means he ain't with nobody. Okay. I like this song. I really, really like this song. And let me tell y'all something. 2 years later, exactly to the day, that was April 22nd. 2 years later, we got married on that same day. And that song, Nobody, was a song we danced on, our first dance. And so when you talking about just being tolerable and just, I don't know what he was doing when he wasn't calling me. I don't know. I don't know. But God was probably doing his good and patient work in him. I don't know. What was you doing?
I don't think in the stuff.
Right. And that's the thing, when men don't really think in stuff. Like, men are not linear. They are all over the place. And so we're thinking, okay, if he called on Thursday at 9 o'clock, well, he need to call on Friday at 9 o'clock. And he need to call on, and
that don't happen.
And it
not
just
with the schedule I used to work.
And yeah, and it's like he's human. He could have been tight. It could have been that he don't feel like talking. It could have been, it could have been anything. And man, like, God was doing his thing in me. Like, he was really breaking me down. God was really breaking my patience down.
And here's why you have to include God in all of this. Because this whole time she's telling y'all what she's going through. The whole time I'm sending her the songs, regardless of how often or when it happened. The Holy Spirit was telling me to send those songs. And I would send them I'm at work, and the Holy Spirit would be like, you need to send this song. I would go downstairs. My phone was in the cafeteria at my job. I'd go down there, get my phone, send the song, and put my phone back down and go back up on the floor to go to work. And then she would tell me the next time we spoke what that meant to her, or it was confirmation or something. Whenever you allow God to take over your situation, he's always going to work things out. Whether I knew what she was going through or not, those songs were sent to her in perfect moments when she needed to hear something or a confirmation of something. And I had no idea that those confirmations were needed. All I was doing was being obedient.
And that just boils it up to the power of love. And we think we have it figured out. And it's so much bigger than us. It's so much bigger than our comprehension. Mm-hmm. It's so much bigger than our timeline. It's so much bigger than what the power of love is so powerful that God's saying, let me break your humanness down. Let me break your humanness down, your human nature down, so that you can get it, so that you can receive it. And patience is that breakdown. But that's why the divorce rate is so high. It's because we're not willing to go through the breakthrough. We're not willing to go through the breakdown. And that's what, I mean, and it continues even in marriage. It continues. It's a constant dying of self, a constant dying of, what you say the other day, you love the thought of us getting up every morning, choosing one another, choosing to be with one another. It is forget about what he said yesterday or what he did yesterday. Now, we ain't saying being all abusive. That's not what we're saying.
It's one of those things where you have to understand that we can't make another person do anything. So what you have to understand is when you choose to be with a person for the rest of your life, although you made decision to marry that person, every single day you choose to get up in the morning with that person, you choose to come back home to that same person and go to sleep with that person. And it's a choice. And we have to realize that we both made that choice. I didn't make that choice and she chose not to, or I'd be in the house by myself. You know what I'm saying? So we have to give people credit to say, man, I'm here with her. I chose to be here. But evidently she chose to be here too because she didn't leave. She got keys to a car. She can jet when she wants to, you know? So we have to give people credit. Saying, I can't make her stay here. She can leave if she wants to. She's a grown person.
But you know how it is. We were talking about before we got on here. It's levels to it.
It's levels.
Because even before you get to the mate, when you go to the waiting, when you're in the waiting stage, you choose to submit to God's perfect will for you. You choose to wait for the future person that's going to come. You're choosing to do that. And he is choosing you. That's the great part that you don't know. That you got to understand. He's also choosing you. You don't know who he is. You might not know who he is right now, but he's choosing you as well. And that's the power of love. That's the mystery of love. That is the breaking down of self. Like, you know how they say fasting, you are breaking self. Patience is the same thing. It is breaking the self for love.
Yeah. When you give to the spiritual realm, and you allow God and the Holy Spirit to do their thing with you, it's almost like that reality show, Married at First Sight. And when they introduce you, you're like, oh,
okay,
that's who God has for me? Okay. But up till then, you might have had a thought of what they may look like, where they come from, how they're going to speak, if they're going to have a Southern accent or Northern. You might have all that in your head. But then when you finally meet that person, it's like, oh, so that's what this looks like.
And you know, the funny thing, that's so funny you brought up that show, because a lot of them didn't go through breakthrough. Mm-hmm. If you have all these things that were compatible, they did all the compatibility, all your core values, they matched them all. But why don't they work? Why some work and some don't?
Because they didn't have God in them.
That could be it.
They let or
could be they could. Well, it could be that they don't have that is not God's perfect will, or also could be that they have not broken down to self. Could be, yeah. So patience that's the factor.
That's God's nature.
That's his factor. That's like, okay, let's see if you really built for love.
Yeah. It's just like when we say God is love, we also need to say God is patient.
Is patient. He is. That is his character. That's his nature. Patience. And so if y'all think y'all waiting and y'all crying and it's just a breakdown. It is a breakdown. It is the process.
It's also understanding that the process is a part of your journey to the point to where you need to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Understand that you're growing as you go through the process, and you should look forward to that growth and that learning and that understanding and that development every single day.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a breakdown of self, but it's the formation of a beautiful, beautiful person. It is. I don't like impatient Jill. Impatient Jill was, and I'm still developing patience. Don't get me wrong. God is working on me daily, but yeah, it's the breakdown of stuff. Yeah. I don't like impatient Jill. Impatient Jill, you gotta be you gotta check your impatient side, because you'll miss who God has for you. Oh, the word of the day. What was your word of the? What was the word of the day? I don't even be listening. What was the word of the day?
She don't even see most of y'all's comments and things, and until later on, she, oh my God, did you see such and such?
We got a whole nother YouTube page I'm trying to cultivate. Like he be on God-Ordained Union, I be on the Smith Serve. But yeah, patience is so when you wondering why it's taking so long, God working. He's working on you. He's breaking you down. And it's a beautiful breakdown. It is a beautiful breakdown. And a lot of men say, well, I like her because she patient, she kind, she patient. But I'm gonna tell you, it's a beautiful thing to have a patient man. That's a whole nother, to have a man that's patient with you. Like that's a whole nother level. That's love. That is love. Like he's patient with me. Like when I don't feel like cooking, and I'm like, he done cooked every day this week. And not to say that that's my role or that's my job, but basically he's catering to my needs. That's a patient man when, he's the one that had the hard, rigorous day. So, yeah. So that's all we have for y'all tonight.
Yes. Hope this has
Patience.
been enlightening. And I hope
Yeah.
it gave you a different perspective about looking at the word
Patience.
patience.
Just it's not just waiting.
Yeah.
It's waiting, understanding, and being tolerable.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
all of those things are what people is the message is pushing against that.
Yes.
You ain't got to wait for
Yes.
him.
Yes.
You ain't got to wait.
Society is saying self-preservation.
Self love. It's saying everything the opposite.
Saying if you are submissive, then you're weak.
Yep. If you're tolerating, don't tolerate foolishness. What he ain't call you? He ain't call you since Sunday. Girl, please keep. Matter of fact, my sister posted that today on her timeline. It was a funny little meme, but it was a girl who was saying, "What? He didn't call you, girl? He did not call you since Sunday, girl. Give it up, give it up." And these are messages that are subliminally going into our, and we're not tolerating, And God is saying, "I was just trying to perfect you in patience. I was trying to break you down, but you went on ahead and listened to, the other preacher girl or the other, motivational speaker, and you got her mantras instead. And you miss love. You miss the person I had for you. But I'm going to bring him around again. You could have got him in 11 days, but it's taking you 40 years.
That, you know what?
So I got to take you around again.
That's a video in itself.
Got to take you around again until you get this.
That's a video in itself.
Mm-hmm. Active listening. Listen to him. I'm telling you, y'all know the story. Z, I tuned everybody out. Everybody. I ain't want nobody in my ear because I knew God was doing something to me. Right. God was doing something in this getting to know process with this one. And I ain't want to miss it. I was actively listening. I tuned everything and everybody out. You could not tell me nothing. And if I would, and sometimes people were saying, my girlfriends, some of my girlfriends, not Z, but some of my girlfriends were saying things that I would never forget. One of my girlfriends said, you don't feel some type of way that he ain't never invited you to his house yet in Charlotte? I said, nope. Because every weekend he coming to my house. He's driving to me. Nope.
So somebody was there, she was by herself.
Exactly. if he had a woman at home, she was down there by herself. So yeah, but if I would have listened to that, I would have, So you gotta, it's a crucial time. Let God break you down through the process of patience. It's gonna happen. So, all right, that's it for the Smiths. Hey, anything else you want to say, baby?
Hey, I just want to say I thank you guys for just spending this evening with us.
Yes.
Allowing us to be a part of your evening.
Yes. Love, joy, peace, patience, faith. Oh my gosh. Ooh. Oh, when we get to hope, we got to talk about that because I seen something seen something today on social media. But next week we'll talk about faith. We'll talk about faith. All
Hey,
right.
y'all have a very blessed
Yes.
remainder of your evening.
Yes. God bless. And the Smiths are going to bed.
No doubt. Peace.
Deuces.